Hello everybody, my name's Nemo and welcome back to another Magic video. Today we're gonna do the deck build for Deadwalkers. The deck build for Deadwalkers. Almost said dead build for Deadwalkers. But I didn't, so I don't know why I mentioned it. So, what's up? My name's Nemo. I don't know if I mentioned that yet. I don't know, this video is just weird already. Alright, so let's talk about the lands first. 24. As you can see, my mana curve is a bit weird. I've got a lot of 4-drops here. This may seem like an aggressive deck at first, and especially when you go up against it and you lose like turn 4 or something. But it's actually not that much of an aggressive deck, because there are a lot of late game bombs that you can play with this deck, and can certainly play the control role very well. So you can switch between aggro and control pretty easily. Yeah, this deck just does a lot, and the aggressive creatures help out with the control as well, since they're very versatile. The whole deck is just very versatile, and it's a really good deck. So we've got 3 grave crawlers in here. These guys are just really good. They keep coming back, and look at that magnificent smile on that face. You know you just want to run this card. He's like, hey buddy, why am I not in your deck yet? Why am I not in your deck yet? Add me. You know you're gonna like it. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Yeah, well done, Nemo. That sure showed them. So yeah, they can't block, but they come back, and they're pretty awesome. We've got Quest for the Gravelord here. I've been testing this card for quite a while. I think it's been in this deck for pretty much ever, and I've hardly ever seen it not actually get me the 5/5 token. There's so much dying going on whenever you're playing this deck. Yeah, you're gonna get that 5/5 zombie. The only issue with this card is, of course, if you top deck it late and you really needed something that can block. But then again, the trade-off is that you get a 5/5 out of a 1-drop, and that's pretty nice. So that's why I'm running that card, Vampiric Tutor. Well, it's a tutor. You run a tutor, of course. There are some pretty big late game bombs in this deck, like I said. Which you might want to tutor, but there's also very versatile answers to a lot of different situations, and the tutor is very good in the deck that has so many different answers. So yeah, one thing to keep in mind, you don't actually get the card when you play this. You have to wait until you draw the next card. If you got Signing Blood in your hand, that may not be an issue, because you can play this and Signing Blood, lose 4 life, of course, but yeah, just draw up the card that you tutored, and you're good to go there. But yeah, it's just a really good card, so you want to run that. We've got the double Reanimate here. Reanimate is a card, I believe I actually took this out of my, what was the deck called? Ghoulkeeper? That was the 2012 zombie deck. I actually took out Reanimate in that deck, but then again there was less life gain in that deck, and less explosive draws, and in this game, when you get the Grave Titan Reanimate combo, it actually does a lot of stuff. Certainly there's a lot of decks that then can't really deal with that. Like Chant of the Moldiah, for instance, just usually dies to that. And there's other decks that have a hard time dealing with that combo. It helps to know whether your opponent can have early removal or not, and whether it's worth it to go for it. But it seems to work out pretty well in this meta whenever you do that. So I like it more in this meta than in 2012. Didn't really like Reanimate in that deck, but I like it enough in this deck that I want both of them. So there it is. We got, well, I guess I should talk about these 1-drops I'm not running. Diagraph Cool, enters the battlefield tapped. Enough said. If you top deck this dude when you really need a blocker, then that's just too bad, you lose, son. That's just how it works. There are better aggro creatures you can run instead of this one. You don't really need this guy. And yeah, it's a 1-cost 2/2, but so we've got a Vial of Poison here. I think this is only in there for the mono black matchup, pretty much. I mean, I'd like this card if there was sideboarding in this game, but there's not. So yeah, sideboard card without in a game that doesn't have sideboarding, so it doesn't get run. So for the 2-drops, we've got the Butcher Ghouls. I think these are the best out of the aggro, out of the 1-drop, 2-drop kind of aggro dudes. Well, aside from the Grave Crawlers, those are the actual best. But these are pretty close second. They're just 1/1s, but they have Undying come back as a 2/2, and they're pretty nice. and you can sack them to some other stuff you'll see later on in the deck. So yeah, being able to sack these dudes and still have them is a really big plus, and this deck really plays off of that mechanic, so you definitely want those. So we've got Bloodghast. He's not a zombie, and that's why I don't run him. He's a really good card, but he's not a zombie, so he doesn't get pumped up by your myriad of lords that this deck has. There's so many lords in the deck. That's why I don't run that guy. We got Black Cat here. Look at those devilish eyes. Devilish eyes. Not a very cute cat to look at. I'm pretty sure it has rabies too. I don't know. Can cats have rabies? Not sure. Need confirmation. But yeah, 2 cost, 1/1. And when it dies, target opponent discards a card at random. So the first time I looked at this deck, basically like the whole, when this game was just out, everybody was running Black Cat. Everybody was. And it seems like a really good card, but just I've been playing around this card pretty well, just by like keeping my land in hand before I have to go into combat with this dude, stuff like that, and not being afraid of the Black Cat is a big thing as well. Some people just sit on their side of the board forever because Black Cat is out and they don't dare to attack into the Black Cat. Sometimes you just have to attack into it and hope that something useless is gonna get discarded. And a lot of the time something useless does get discarded. This card doesn't actually get them that well a lot of the time. And I don't know, it's just a 1/1, and I mean it's a little bit better than Ravenous Rats, I think. It doesn't come in and make him discard, but it discards at random. But even then, Ravenous Rats is not really a card I like running, and this can just get something that doesn't even matter for the whole game. And on its own, it's just a 1/1. So we don't run the Black Cat for that reason. And I think people have been catching on to that. I'm not seeing a lot of Black Cat lately anymore. I think people have realized that it's pretty easy to play around it. We've got Walking Corpse here, 2/2 for 2. Just not good enough. Pretty vanilla. I like these Butcher Ghouls better, and we don't need more aggro here. Like I said, this deck isn't just straight up aggro. It has some pretty good late game tricks to it as well. So we have Exhume here. I think in this deck it's straight up worse than Reanimate. There's not a lot of situations where the life loss is going to hurt you from Reanimate, and them being able to get something back as well does hurt you more often than the Reanimate does. So I like running 2 Reanimates, but I think that's enough. We don't need more of these effects. So Exhume gets put into the sideboard if this deck would have a sideboard, because there's no sideboarding. But yeah, Shrivel just doesn't do enough, so I don't really run it. I mean, sure, there could be situations where this is great, but like, even what would be the worst? What would be the best deck to use this against? Evanston's Glory? Well, Honor of the Pure. Yeah, there's just a lot of situations where this card doesn't do anything, or just get something off the board that you don't even really care about. So I'm not running that. So the Doomblades here, we've got all 3 of these in the deck, and I know. It sucks to go up against Mono Black. It sucks to go up against the Mirror Match and draw a Doomblade. But that's just the price you have to play the price you have to pay for the power of Doomblade. Because this deck, other than this, doesn't have that much cheap removal. It has some, certainly, and the ones that it does have are really, really good. Absurdly, in fact. But sometimes you just need targeted removal. You need to get rid of something, and Doomblade's your guy. 3 of them in there. If you don't like it, then I don't know, add something else. It's up to you, of course. These deck builds are just, my personal way of building the deck, and you can get something out of it, but you don't have to like super copy the whole deck. You can try it and see, like, oh, I didn't like Doomblade here, so let's take out a Doomblade, add something else. It's up to you. We got the Sign in Blood here, and this is just card advantage. You want this, and again, like with the Reanimate, losing the life usually doesn't hurt you that much, because this deck is pretty aggressive and has some pretty good ways of dealing with early aggression from your opponent. And even if you don't, then you can be more aggressive than they are, and they have to stay back. So there's not a lot of situations where losing the 2 life really hurts you that much, and it's just card advantage. It's pretty simple. We've got Lord of the Undead here. Great card. Other zombies get +1/+1. Still run it, even for the mirror match. Even if there was sideboarding and I would have to sideboard for the mirror match, I would still run this. I mean, the other ability is just that good. Return target zombie card from the graveyard to your hand. Yeah, that's really good. There's gonna be a card that comes up that is a superb combo with this one. So I'll talk about that in a second. Geralf's Messenger is just an insanely good card. I don't see a reason not to run it, so I don't even think I need to explain this one. With Death Baron here, another Lord, just really powerful. Everything gets Death Touch except himself. Keep that in mind. We've got Flashback Marauder here, and this is the card I was talking about. That's a super amazing combo with Lord of the Undead. So, you know, you have to sacrifice something, they have to sacrifice something. But usually, like, you're sacrificing stuff like the Butcher Ghoul. You're like, whatever, I can get it back. It gets back bigger. You're sacrificing stuff like Gravecrawler. It's really nice. Plays into your quest for the Gravelord of multiple things dying. Your Lord of the Undead can get it back. And that's really insane as well. Just playing the Flashback Marauder, sacking it to itself, using Lord of the Undead to bring it back, playing it again, etc. That's a really nice combo right there. And yeah, this deck really works well with these types of effects. So that's just playing into the deck strategy. This is the strong point of this deck, is that it has a lot of these types of effects that just combo off with each other very well. So we're not running the Staff of the Death Magus because it's a really bad card, and even if I desperately needed the life gain, there's other cards with life gain in this deck. They're just a lot better. We got Soul Bleed here, which is a terrible card. Yeah, just, I mean, no. This is a waste of a card. I mean, if it was 1 mana, I still probably wouldn't run it. So that tells you how much I like this card. It just doesn't do anything. They lose 1 life, so what? Who cares? We got Grim Return here. Not as good as Reanimate, so yeah. Again, the life loss from Reanimate doesn't hurt you that much, so I don't feel like I need to add Exhume or Grim Return instead. And I don't really want too many of these types of effects, because you still need to draw your dudes to be able to use these kind of effects. So we've got Death Cloud here. I mean, Death Cloud is a great card, but I feel it's pretty one-dimensional. It works really well when you're winning the game. If you're losing the game, it just doesn't do that much. And there are situations where this card is insane, and it's really fun. I mean, this is a really fun card. If I was like building this deck to be the most fun I could make it, I would probably include Death Cloud, because yes, fun card. But I don't feel like it's really needed in this deck. Yeah, good card certainly, but in those situations where you're losing, you often can't even afford to lose the life, and at best it's going to create parity where both of you are top decking and you're probably at a lower life total. So yeah, I mean, playing it against Burn would be pretty bad as well. So we've got Graveborn Muse here. Talk about life loss. Yeah, this is worth it. It's probably gonna draw you into a card that gains you life anyways, so the life loss doesn't really hurt you that much, and you're drawing so many cards with this card, it's ridiculous. If they don't immediately deal with this card, you just draw like 4 or 5 cards, and you're just back into that game, no matter what. I mean, if you survive that. So yeah, Graveborn Muse, one of the strongest cards in the deck. Definitely run that one. We've got Liliana's Reaver. Also just really strong. I mean, what can I say? Death Touch, dude. So it's at least gonna trade with something huge. And if it gets in, then you get a 2/2. They have to discard a card. It's super good. So we've got all 3 of the Undead War Chiefs, the best lord in the deck, pretty much. And yeah, I mean, everything. All your zombies cost 1 less to cast. Everything gets +2/+1, including himself. This card can just end the game on the spot when it comes down, and if not, then you can play Macace the following turn, because that's a zombie. We've got a single copy of Endless Ranks of the Dead. This card actually works really well. Again, another card I didn't like too much in Ghoulkeeper, but this deck, I mean, what are they gonna do? If they kill your dudes, they come back because they have Undying, or at least a lot of them do. It's in this deck, it's pretty easy to just have a few guys on the board, and this can take over a game really quickly. I obviously don't want to draw both of them, because that would be silly. And this deck is strong enough that I don't really need to hedge my bets that much that I want to include both of them, just so I have more chance of drawing them. because I think that the odds of drawing both of them would just, that would invalidate that strategy. That would just be pretty bad. So, yeah, but this can certainly turn around the game pretty easily, and it's a late game plan as much as anything. So, it's pretty good. Grave Pact is insane. I mean, there are so many ways that you kill their dude and you kill your dude, and with Grave Pact out, that means they have to sack another dude, and it's great. I mean, you trade, they lose dudes. They can't block your Grave Crawlers anymore because they come back anyway, and they have to sack a dude when they die. Yeah, such an amazing card for this deck. 5 out of 5 right there. Then the Rules of Corruption. What's better than removal? Well, removal that also gains you life and helps you win the damage race. Insane. Really, really good. Yeah. Great card. Mass removal, and your dudes happen to have Undying, a lot of them, or be able to come back somehow. Some way, somehow, or you have Reanimate. I mean, in a deck like this, even though it's somewhat of an aggressive deck, Mutilate is still really, really strong, because your guys will come back and they'll be stronger than ever. So, yep, a really good card right there. Consuming Vapors. Man, this card is so good. So they have to sack a dude, you gain life, it comes back, and they have to sack another dude. It is crazy, crazy good. Yep. And sometimes you Consuming Vapors yourself, killing off your Geralf's Messenger, which comes back and deals them the final 2 damage, and it's pretty glorious. So 4 drops we're not running here. Abattoir Ghoul. I mean, this is a fine guy, but look at the 4 drops I am running, and all of those are just easily better than Abattoir Ghoul. So there's just no room for this one, but it's a fine creature. So second copy of Endless Ranks, we talked about that one. So 5 drop, I'm running 1 5 drop, and it's a Cruel Revival. Really nice to get back your combo with the Flashback Marauder and the Lord of the Undead. It's just a really good card in general. Note that it only gets back zombies, so you can't get back your Grave Titan. Note also that it only kills zombies, and you're already running 3 Doomblades, so that's a little bit on the scary side when it comes to the mirror match. But I feel like it's just a strong enough card that I want it anyways. You usually will draw one of these cards in any particular game when you have like 4 of them. So I'm including Cruel Revival and 3 Doomblades. You're usually in a game, you'll draw one of them, and if you're playing against a mirror match, it'll be that card. You could get really unlucky and draw both. So it's up to you if you don't want to have the Cruel Revival. I would rather take out this Cruel Revival than any of the Doomblades. Even though the Doomblades have more potential for being dead cards. That's just because because Doomblade is so cheap and just needed. It makes the deck a lot stronger. So if you're gonna take out any of them, I advise taking out Cruel Revival. And I don't really know what you would add for it, to be honest. I guess just like a Walking Corpse or something. Because I don't really see anything else that is cheap that you want. Other than that Cruel Revival. I wouldn't add another one of these 6 drops. Because I think you would want to run 25 lands if you want to run another 6 drop. So I don't know. But if you don't like it, just figure out what you like instead. And go from there. We've got the Veilborn Ghoul here, we're not running. It's just a slow guy, he can get blocked by anything. I guess when he dies, then, I mean, if you've got Grave Pact out, it's kind of a combo. I don't know, man. It is Sacrifice Fodder, so that's something, right? But you've got other Sacrifice Fodder that's cheaper. Yeah, it's not that great of a card. Farbog Boneflinger is just horrendous. It's a 2/2 for 5 mana that enters the battlefield and gives something -2/-2. This is very far from Flametongue Kavu. I mean, when you want to have a card like this be good, then you want to have Flametongue Kavu, which I know that's a red card, but that's just kind of like the end all be all for these kind of cards that come in and kill something. Flametongue Kavu is really good. -2/-2 doesn't kill everything. If you want to be spending 5 mana to play 2/2, then you want to at least kill the biggest threat that they have, and this just can't guarantee that, so I don't want it. But, I mean, I can see why it's in this deck. It makes sense, because you do have ways of bringing it back and reusing it, but, I mean... Flashback Marauder is just way better for that kind of thing. So, 3 Cruel Revivals that we're not running. I definitely do not want more of these, because, like I said, I already run the 3 Doomblades, I already run one of these. Don't want more, that'll be just dead cards against mono black. That would just be bad. We've got a single Grave Titan, we've got Machias, and we've got Corrupt. So we're pretty much hedging our bets here. We will run one of each of these. And the reason for that is the tutor card we have is a big reason for that. We can get whichever one we want. Grave Titan is really good with Reanimate, but you don't need 2 of them. Machias is my favorite out of the 6 drops, but there's only 1 available for the deck. The main reason he's my favorite is because he protects your side against mass removal, which is very strong, and he can come out turn 5 because you've got 3 Undead War Chiefs here that make him cheaper. Note that Grave Titan isn't a zombie, but this is, so you can play this for 5 mana, you can't play Grave Titan for 5 mana. And then there's the Corrupt, because sometimes you just need to finish the game, and Corrupt does that. Sometimes also you just need to gain life, and Corrupt does that. And swing the damage ratio in your favor, and sometimes outright kill the opponent, so it's a very good card, but I don't want too many of them, because if Corrupt doesn't actually kill the opponent, then I guess Grave Titan is often better, because it can just give you a really good board position. So yeah, we'll run one of each of these, and we don't run the second Grave Titan, because again, if you want to add more 6 drops, I think you need to add more land as well, and then just the whole build becomes different. We were not running Nightmare, just not good enough. A 6/6 flyer, not as good as dropping a 6/6 that brings in 2 2/2s, or Machias, or, you know. This one is just the worst out of these 6 drops. Well, I say that, and then I look at this guy. Tap 5 untapped zombies you control, put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield. What? There are so many cards that return your stuff better than this can. And it's a 3/3 for 6 mana, and you often, like, if you have 5 untapped zombies, why haven't you already won the game? I don't understand. We've got Zombie Apocalypse here, that's an interesting card. Return all zombie creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tab, then destroy Eversin's Glory, because it sucks and it's way too good and needs to die. Well, I guess this deck is also really good, so... But, yeah, if you're playing against Eversin's Glory, then this card is insane. Other than that, like, you don't always have zombies in your graveyard, because there's so many recursion spells already. And this thing is 6 mana, so yeah, by the time you get here, like, you'll have played your Cruel Revival if you drew it. You'll have done some stuff with the Lords of the Undead if you drew them. You'll have played your Reanimates if you drew them. So, I mean... This also doesn't return Grave Titan. Keep that in mind. Yeah, I like the other 6 drops better here. So again, only 1 copy of Corrupt. We're not running Grave Betrayal. We don't need 7 drops in the deck. You're starting to get crazy once you get to the 7 drops. Although this is a really good one. But yeah, holding this in your hand from the start of the game and not being able to play it is really lousy. At least if you draw Grave Titan early, you can just, like, I don't know, skip your turn, discard it, and reanimate it and win the game. If you draw this, if you start with this in your opening hand, you're like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get 7 mana. But once it's out, it's really strong. I mean, this works really well with this deck, so there's that. Avatar of Woe. Yeah, there's not often gonna be 10 or more creature cards total in all graveyards, because your graveyard is usually not that full because you're returning your stuff, so... usually you'll be playing this for the full 8 mana, and I don't want to be playing 8 mana spells. Demon of Death's Gate is an interesting one. Just that, I don't know, we've got Grave Titan with the Reanimate, and that is already strong early game plan if we want to go that route. This can be really good, and if you've got some dudes out that become better, that just become stronger when you sacrifice them, like, I don't know, Geralt's Messenger, and one of those Undying 2-cost guys. And this is just really nice because your guys come back bigger and you get a demon on top. It's super nice. But I don't know, if that's not the case, then you're sacrificing your whole side and they just pacify this guy. So it's a strong card though, but I don't feel like this deck needs to take that risk because it's already a really strong deck anyways. Rise of the Dark Realms, we're getting into the 9 mana with a deck that doesn't have any RAM, so I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Yeah, that's probably gonna win you the game. If you get this 9 mana and the game is going long, then there's probably a lot in the graveyard, so yay. But yeah, 9 mana, not running that. So that's the build. Yeah, let's get into some gameplay in the next video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's a pretty long video. I don't know, maybe I'm just off my rocker when it comes to these deck builds, but they tend to be pretty long. So let's not delay it any further. My name's been Nemo. My name will still be Nemo next time. And again, I hope you guys did enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.